The finance minister clarifying on a whole host of issues to India Inc. Remember, this was his first meeting with CII, that's the industry lobby that he met with in New Delhi. First, after his budget proposals, he did clarify on a whole host of issues. But one of the issues that perhaps got the goat of the industry going really was the whole idea on double taxation and whether retrospective changes should be made to tax laws. Pranab Mukherjee sticking to his guns there and saying there is no way out. That particular thing has to be taxed. Vodafone, without naming the company, has said that cases that date back only to up to 6 years will be reopened. 16-year-old cases will be reopened only in the case of black money. So an important clarification coming from the government there. But horns were locked, and they were locked by none other than Rahul Bajaj and Finance Minister. Let's first go across and listen to Pranab Mukherjee as he digressed from his prepared speech and address the one big issue that's haunting India Inc., global investors and everybody here in India, and that's the retrospective changes that have been proposed to India's tax laws.
I also want to touch on the debate currently underway on the use of the retrospective amendments to the tax laws. First of all, I would like to make one point quite clear, and here we shall have to think together and efforts will have to be made collectively. Do we want India should be a no-tax country? Or we want that taxation should be guided by the instrumentality of the double taxation avoidance agreement, so the investors from abroad know clearly that he will not have to pay taxes twice in the country of origin or in the country of operation. Therefore, if we assume that our desire is not to have a no-tax regime in India, then only one instrumentality is available to us for ensuring that the investors do not pay taxes twice through the instrumentality of the double taxation avoidance agreement and tax exchange information agreement. The second issue which emerges from the judgment of the Supreme Court directed the government that intention of the legislature should be made quite clear through the appropriate amendment in the relevant laws. How the intention of the legislature can be created without reference to the point of date and year of enactment? If the legislature wants to make specific that this was the intention, then what would be the reference point other than the year of enactment? And every retrospective legislation, all of you are knowledgeable. Please go through the finance bill year after year. Hardly you will find any finance bill where some retrospective legislations have not been introduced in the finance bill, arising out of the verdict of the court. In one particular year, to reflect the decision of the court and to indicate the intention of the legislature, a whole section was added in the finance bill. 2008, as many as 9 retrospective amendments were made. 2009, 2010, and it's a constant practice not only in India but many other countries. Therefore, the two issues which we shall have to keep in mind, I have no problem of having any length of discussion on this issue and to assuage the feelings that yes, in our country, we will have clarity about the taxations. DTC, GST is making an attempt reforming the tax regime to ensure that people have clear ideas about the clear tax regime in the country. Then the apprehension is that if the reference point is to the year of enactment, can the cases be reopened from that day? No. because there are other provisions in the Income Tax Act. Under no circumstances, the cases cannot be reopened beyond 6 years. Therefore, that law is applicable. Legislation of the intention may be clarified by retrospective amendment with reference point to the year of enactment of 1961 or 1962, but that does not lead to the conclusion that the cases can be reopened from 1961 or 1962. There comes the question of other provisions of the Income Tax Act where it prohibits that you cannot reopen the cases beyond 6 years. Somebody may raise a question that there is another amendment we have made in the Income Tax Act where the cases can be reopened up to 16 years. But that is only related to the black money and having assets in foreign countries without permission from the appropriate authorities. That is not applicable to the resident taxpayers or not even non-resident taxpayers who are operating their business activities in this country. That is limited to one particular class of cases where if through the exchange of information, either through amended DTAA or through tax exchange information agreements, we come to know that somebody has foreign assets and that has not been declared and that asset has been created without sanction of the appropriate authorities, then and then only, if it is required in that cases, it can be done for 16 years. Therefore, I do feel there is, I understand, lot of misapprehension is there that the cases can be reopened. Legal pundits always will interpret the legal terminology in their own way. I am not a lawyer, but this much I can tell you that hardly there has been any finance bill where retrospective amendment has not taken place to clarify, because apart from getting taxes, there is the other areas that you shall have to protect your own revenue. Because if the retrospective amendment is not being made, those who have paid taxes, accepting the interpretation of the department, they will claim that now you return the taxes which I have given to you, and it is not an imaginary cases. I am not going to mention the name. 4, 5, 6 such cases are with me where they are waiting that if there be no retrospective amendment, I shall have to return the taxes which I have collected from them who believed in the interpretation of the department, who did not challenge that interpretation. Therefore, to protect the revenue, that there be no outflow from the exchequer, and to ensure that the intention of the legislator was clear from the day one, and day one means with the date of enactment, this amendment has been made, not with any vindictive or with asserting any particular point of view. This is absolutely requirement of the law, and as it was interpreted, the judgment of the Supreme Court when they directed that you clarify the intention of the legislation in unmistakable and unambiguous terms. I think I have tried to the best of my abilities to remove the doubts on this issue. Of course, debate will go on and there will be further legal interpretation. That is the job of the legal experts.